Welcome to Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, who have been proudly serving the families of New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals. And now, Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. We're going to kind of take you around the world on Issues and Answers today. And actually what we're also going to do is put a call out for you, because we are needing host families to host a foreign exchange student in your family this coming school year. So please stay with us as we discuss the program, Education, Travel, and Culture, and their call out for host families for this coming school year. And we're also going to meet a foreign exchange student from Sweden right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. We're excited to have Ebba Eriksson with us today. She comes from Sweden. Thank you so much for being on the program, Ebba.
Thank you for letting me come.
Beautiful young lady, 17 years old, and goes to Sibbla High School.
Mm-hmm.
But when you return back to Sweden, you're going to have to make up this year again.
Yeah.
But it's all worth it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally worth it.
And we have a senior field representative from the Education, Travel, and Culture program, and that is Sarah Candelaria.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for being here, Sarah.
Thanks for having us.
We're putting a call out. Right now we have about 35 foreign exchange students with your program. There may be 4 or 5 other ones licensed here in New Mexico that are active, perhaps more. You host 35 students throughout the state in homes.
It's true, yeah.
And we're needing more, though.
We do, yes. So for our 2016-2017 school year, we're looking for families that would be willing to host students in their home. It doesn't have to be in Albuquerque. We'd love to have some families in Santa Fe. We already have families in Farmington, Artesia, Las Cruces, so really all over the state.
And again, 35, that's a pretty big number.
It is. Yeah, we really enjoy it. It really helps with the camaraderie of the students while they're here. They really get to support each other. Creating a community within a community is what we really strive for with our host families and our kids alike, so they can all support each other through this experience, because there are some challenges. I'm sure that some would agree. There are some challenges for the kids and the families as an adjustment period. But for the most part, it is just an amazing experience that we'd love to share with other people in New Mexico.
So we have the need, we have enough foreign students who want to come here to New Mexico and study for a year like Ebba, but need the homes. But Ebba, tell me about your trip to coming to New Mexico. When did you decide you wanted to be a foreign exchange student, and how did you hear about it?
So my mom wanted me to come here, to be a foreign exchange student, and for the longest time, I didn't want to go, and I didn't think I was brave enough. But then when I switched schools, I met some other people, and I got to grow a little bit, I think. And then I decided the winter before I went here, I decided and I applied with my Swedish organization, and then it just happened.
So you were maybe 15, your mom was thinking about it when you were 14 or 15, mm-hmm. And then when you were about 15 or 16, you did decide you wanted to come.
Yeah.
Why did your mom want you to come, and why did you decide finally that you wanted to come?
My mom wanted me to come because she was au pair, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she thought it was really a good experience, and she wanted me to have a good experience too. And it's really good for your English to improve. So that's what she wanted me to do it.
While you're here, please share with us your Swedish language. Please say some things. Tell me about how you got up here to the studio today. Please, let us hear.
Vi åkte bil hit och sen så åt vi lite mat. Yeah, I don't really know what to say.
Well, tell me about in Swedish, tell me about your host family.
Min värdfamilj är den bästa värdfamiljen jag någonsin skulle kunna ha. Jag älskar dem jättemycket och jag är väldigt ledsen att jag kommer lämna dem.
And before you came, back to English now, before you came, you studied English in school?
Yeah, we start learning English in 2nd grade because it's really hard to so English is so worldwide, so you have to know English for you to be able to communicate with the rest of the world. Because it's only Sweden who talks Swedish. So
how do you feel your English has improved?
Oh, it's improved a lot, and it's really nice to have more words to use, and I really like it, yeah.
So when you finally decided, your mom was an au pair, she wanted you to come, and what finally changed your mind and decided, yeah, I'll give it a shot?
So I was really worried before I switched schools, because I've went with my same friends for my entire school, my school year, I guess, years. And when I switched schools, I had to go with some other people because we split up. And that's when I found out that I could live without them.
Okay, and you decided, you could take on another experience, meet other friends.
And I grew a lot not going with them in the same class.
She's an excellent, wonderful student. She is your exchange student.
Ebba has lived with us almost for 10 months now. She's getting ready to go home soon. And on the other end, she decided to be an exchange student. She fills out her application in her home country. We, as a receiving organization, Education, Travel, and Culture, we get these applications. And lucky me, I work for the organization, so I get to read over all of these applications. And I remember reading them over and seeing Ebba's and thinking, oh, she's the perfect kid for our family. And that's really what we're trying to do for other families too. They are able to choose their own student. We don't assign students. And so we want to know about your family and try to match your family with a student that would match just like Ebba matches for our family.
Tell me about the process. And while you do, we're going to show some pictures of the students. So if a person watching the show decides, I think I'll give it a shot, what is the first step they need to do, a family?
Of course. So the first step would be contacting me. We would kind of chat. They can tell me a little bit about their family. I would set them up with a host family application. Everything's done online. They can tell us a little more about their family, where they live, the community they live in, the school that the student would attend. And then we would continue on with the screening process. Host families do have to do background checks. Everyone over the age of 18, of course, that's just to ensure the safety of our kids. We do reference checks, and then we do an in-home interview. So one of our representatives would come to the family. We would sit down with the family in the family's home and, talk with the family, ask them some additional questions.
But what is a family? Can it be a single mother?
Absolutely.
Can it be just a father and no kids? Do they need to have kids in the family? Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So we take families of all types. We do take families that are single parent families or single adults in the home. We do have we do take atypical situations as well. So if there are 2 moms in the home, 2 dads in the home, that's completely acceptable with us as well. Although there will be additional screening. You don't have to have kids. I have a lot of empty nesters that host.
Do?
Absolutely. And sometimes our empty nesters choose to take 2 students because some of their concern is, well, we don't have any kids in the home. We don't know if they'll get bored. Well, you take 2. You can have one from Germany, one from Sweden. Now your teenagers kind of interact with each other. You get to experience all of it, and yet you kind of have less pressure with entertaining per se. You don't. They kind of keep each other company a little bit more. So that's always an option as well.
So are you required to have a bedroom, their own bathroom? Tell me a little bit about that.
Of course. So the basic requirements of a host family, beyond background checks, reference checks, all that kind of stuff, is to provide room and board and meals at home. So you're not asking the student to pay rent or help with utilities. And then you're providing, an extra bowl of cereal before they head off to school, like waffles, whatever they eat, and then an extra plate at dinner. And the way that I've always kind of justified that in our house when we started hosting 6 years ago was we don't put leftovers in the fridge anymore. You know, we don't anymore. We don't. We have an exchange student. We just feed our leftovers, and nothing gets thrown away later because no one eats it.
What about transportation?
Sure. So transportation, the students, like Ebba takes the school bus to school on Mondays because my husband doesn't work. The rest of the week he takes her, but only because it's convenient. She could take the bus every day to school. She takes the bus home every day from school. The students cannot drive while they're here. So that is one thing. They are not allowed to drive. So she either has to take the school bus or help her friend's driver. She's made a really good group of friends, so they help with transportation. And of course, when I can, I do as well. And that is part of the responsibility of being a host family, is either helping with transportation or helping to find a carpool for the student.
Okay, well, we have more to touch on about getting them into the school, but back to Ebba. How is this experience what you expected, or is it different than you expected?
So back in Sweden, when we talked about it and we had the orientations, they said that every exchange year for every student is different. So they always said to us to not have expectations, even though it's really hard.
Well, of course, you had the expectations.
Yeah, but I tried to just be open for everything, and they said it was hard to. Sometimes it's hard to adjust because it's different and it's a new culture and all that stuff. But I think I just tried to not have expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How is it different going to school in the United States, in Albuquerque, at Cibola High School? How is it different than your school back home?
So,
and again, your home is on the largest island, Gotland, which is a city in the largest island in Sweden.
Yeah.
Didn't even know, I guess there were islands. So how is it different from your home school?
The biggest difference, I would say, is the schedule and how every student has their own schedule. Because in Sweden, we have one group of students have the same schedule and go to the same classroom all through the year.
Oh, okay.
And here, it's one student goes to one classroom with a bunch of other people, and then next time they go to another classroom with another group of people.
Okay.
So that would be the biggest difference.
How about American kids, American teenagers? How different are American teenagers than your teenagers back in Sweden?
Oh, that's a hard. Americans overall is a lot more open and a lot more friendly than Swedish people are. No offense to Swedish people, but that's just how it is. And they're more open to get to know foreign people, I would guess. Mm-hmm.
But do you like the same music? Do you dress the same? How are the kids different?
In school here, people dress a lot more relaxed than in Sweden. I think we're a little bit more concerned about fashion. Mm-hmm. But I think I like that because I'm not very fashion like that. Mm-hmm. I like when it's comfortable. Mm-hmm.
And the activities, what do you do with the kids here that is different or the same as back home?
Here, you have sports in school, and we don't at all. We don't have any spirit at all in school. We go to school, and that's it.
To study.
Yeah, exactly. We have PE, but we don't have any school sports after school. And I really like that, because then you have the same friends in school, and then you meet them after school to do activities and sports, which is really cool and fun.
Do kids in Sweden have sports of some kind?
Yeah, all sports is through clubs and organizations like that.
From a lot of different schools then, though, you meet other kids from other schools at the clubs.
Yeah, exactly. So I do gymnastics at home, and then so all the people that wants to do gymnastics can apply for this, or apply to this club and do gymnastics.
What did you do at Cibola?
I did swimming, and then we started a water polo club this year.
How is that?
It's really fun. Yeah.
What are you going to tell your friends back home about your experience?
Oh, wow. I'm not sure they want to listen to everything, but I have a lot to tell. Yeah.
Would you suggest they do it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Before everything.
How did you come to New Mexico?
It's not my choice to come to what state. I don't really know how. Yeah, you can explain that.
I could probably explain it a little bit better. Our kids, basically the host families choose them. So went back to what I was saying is we try to match our families' interests, hobbies, religious affiliation if that's important to them. And then once a family chooses a student, that's where that student goes. And so a student doesn't necessarily come to New Mexico until we find them the family that wants a student to come to New Mexico.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so there's a whole pool. The United States,
There is a whole pool, yeah. There's a whole pool of students that we have, although I have some that are specifically assigned to me that we're specifically looking for families here in New Mexico for. They may not end up in New Mexico, but that's our goal, is to have them here.
Oh, fantastic. We're looking, again, it's education, travel, and culture. We're looking a little bit about there. Of course, it says nonprofit organization for education and, of course, instilling cultural exchange.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's one of the biggest parts is not only is it an exchange for Ebba, you know, she's growing and learning about the American culture, but she's introduced the Swedish culture to our family as well, too. And Ebba's my family's 7th exchange student, and we have 3 small kids of our own, an 11-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And they now totally, fully, 100% understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ebba, but that the world does not revolve around Albuquerque, New Mexico. They know all about Sweden and Germany and France and
Tell me
South
about
Korea.
your family. How many children do you have? And
Right, so we have 3 biological children, 11-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And then Ebba is our 7th exchange student. So we hosted from South Korea and Germany and Sweden. So we hosted 2 in 1 year. And then, oh my gosh,
You had 2?
We did have 2 in 1 year, yes. So in our second year hosting, we had a Swedish student and a German student at the same time. And then we hosted from Japan. And then we hosted from Germany again, and then France, and now Sweden again. So we have.
And do you keep in touch?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we just a couple weeks ago got to give a call to our French exchange student and wish him a happy 18th birthday, because he, you know, is still very much part of our family. And our Germans, I mean, all of them really. I get on Facebook on Mother's Day and I have Happy Mother's Day from all of my kids, you know, in their language and in English, and how much they miss us and how much they want to come back and visit. And often we get kids that come back and visit. Next month we have one of our German kids, didn't personally live with my family, but she did live in Albuquerque, and she's coming back to visit for her 3rd time already. So she misses Albuquerque. Like, she really loves the environment, the culture, her family, you know, her friends, and so she does come back to visit often.
Are these students, if you've been doing this for 7 years, Sarah, a lot of them now have graduated from their high school in their countries, gone off to college.
You're gonna make me cry.
Do they come back to the United States to go to college?
I do. So yeah, some of them. We actually have a student, he went to, actually a couple of them, but one in specific, his name was Walter. He's from China. And he went to El Dorado High School in Albuquerque and is now graduating from college here in the US and just got offered a job with Google. So that's pretty cool. He'll be here, and he's now gonna work for Google in California for a while.
Great.
Yeah.
When you return, you have to make up the 1 year that you missed. Is that true of all countries?
It's not. Majority countries, yes, that is how it works. Some countries do allow the kids to take the school year that they've completed here back home. So that's typically South Korea, Brazil, and Italy, sometimes Spain. And other than that, most of our countries, they come, and they're coming for the experience. I mean, they do have to keep their grades up. They do have to be very active in school. They're not allowed to have anything lower than a C in all of their classes. They are required to give their grades to the organization every single month. So we do keep track of their grades. But ultimately, the school year is just an experience for them.
So when you go back, Ebba, you'll start school again.
Yes.
How many years, what do you call 12th grade? Do you have 11th grade, 12th grade? What are your grades
I'm
called?
not going to explain the whole
Sure.
Swedish system because
Sure, but you
it's
go back,
really
you'll
long.
have 2 more to go.
Yeah,
You're
2 more.
17, soon to be 18, but you'll have 2 more years.
Yeah. I feel so old graduating when I'm 20. But yeah, I have 2 more years. All my friends only have 1 year when I come back, but
you'll have
it's totally worth it.
Are you thinking about college, going on to college?
I'm probably going to go to college in Sweden because it's really expensive here compared to in Sweden. But yeah, I'm thinking about going to college in Sweden.
Great. What are you thinking of studying?
Right now, I'm studying in the program with pastry and cooking stuff, so I'm probably going to keep going with that.
Great. And as you mentioned, Sarah, it's a cultural exchange. Of course, you're learning about kids. What culturally, I mean, you saw a lot about the United States in the media, but culturally, how different is this, or is this what you're thinking it would be like, Ebba?
I think the stuff that you see in media and movies and stuff is partly true, but it's also very exaggerating. Like in high school, it looks like high school movies, and that's so excited for a lot of people, or a lot of us exchange students. You come to school, it's like, oh my gosh, it looks like a high school movie. But also, it's very over-exaggerating when like it's all the football guys and all the cheerleaders. That's the only people that rules, and that's not true, which I like. That it's very like all people are seen.
And they're not just pulling pranks all the time
No.
at Cibola, right? They're not pulling pranks and doing jokes and horsing around. They're actually studying. You don't see that. I guess it would be kind of boring, Sarah, to see a movie about kids studying, right?
It's true. Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
What does it cost a family, a host family?
So really the basic cost is going to be providing room and board and meals at home. So if a host family follows what is expected of them and doesn't go above by buying things that they're not required to buy for their exchange student, it really shouldn't be too much of a financial obligation for a host family to host. Sometimes we do get asked if host families get paid to host, and I wasn't sure if I should bring this question up because it is controversial, but our host families do not get paid. These kids are coming on a J1 visa, which is an academic visa through the Department of State, and the Department of State rules that we are not allowed to compensate our host families in any way, shape, or form. So really they're doing it as a volunteer basis to volunteer as a host family.
In addition to feeding them and making sure transportation, they are able to get to school, what about weekends? What happens on the weekends?
What
with
happens
host
on the
families?
weekends?
What happens on the weekends, Ebba?
Our family is crazy busy on the weekends, so Ebba can tell you that. What happens? What do we do?
Yeah, what happens? We go places. I don't know.
Well, do you see your friends? Do you see your friends from school on the
of
weekends
course,
as well?
yeah. We find stuff to do. It's just
So really having a student in your home is just like having any other typical teenager in your home. She comes with us, if we have a birthday party to go to, Ebba typically comes with us unless she has something to do with her friends. And then of course she can go, hang out with her friends at the mall or go to the movies or do whatever it is that, teenagers do these days. But for the most part, they just come with you and do whatever it is that your family does. We took a trip up to Moab a couple weeks ago and got to visit Arches National Monument. But you're not also required to take your student on any big extravagant trips either. Them being here and being in your family and being in the American culture is enough of a eye-opening experience for them that traveling isn't necessary.
And they can't go home. Usually, there's two different programs. One where the student is here from the school year August through May, and what is the other one?
And then we have semester students. So semester students that arrive in August and leave in December,
Okay.
or semester students that arrive in January and leave in May. So we do have 2 different types of programs. Majority of our kids are academic year students. So they arrive in August and they stay for the academic year and then leave after school gets out.
And you were here the whole academic year, right? They're not allowed to go home though either,
Correct.
Because
So-
of they get homesick. Do
Right.
they get homesick?
You know, it really varies. The degree of homesickness really does vary from student to student. But one thing that ETC, Education, Travel, and Culture, has in place is that our students are not allowed to either visit back home or have visits from home for their entire 10 months, which some people think sounds really harsh and mean, but ultimately it really helps them with progressing in their getting accustomed to the American culture. I mean, you could spend from August to December really adjusting to your new family, your school, your environment, and then mom and dad want to come for Christmas, and then you kind of have to do the whole thing over again because you miss mom and dad.
Was
and
it
you wanna
hard,
see them.
Eva? Were you homesick for your mom?
I talked to them on Skype and stuff, but I think having such a great family made it a lot more easier
Okay.
than
Are you looking forward to going home?
both yes and no. It's really weird because when you leave from home, you know that you're going to see them in 10 months again. And when you leave from here, you don't know when to see them again. And that's really hard and sad.
Thank you. And the process, how long is the process, Sarah?
The process to host an exchange student, I would say typically a week, week and a half, 2 weeks. I mean, it really depends on how.
Oh, that fast?
Yeah, you can, I mean, as long as a host family gets in, if they're really motivated to have a student and they get in and start their application and do their background check, we can get somebody out there to do an in-home interview and we can move things along quickly. And the nice thing about solidifying a placement early is that you can actually start communicating with your student before they get here. So you can actually talk with them for a few months before they arrive in August.
Congratulations. Sarah Candelaria with Education, Travel, and Culture, thank you so much.
you.
And of course, Ebba Erickson, best of luck, and can you say goodbye to our audience? And I'm saying goodbye right now.
Hey då!
Tell them where you're going to go.
I'm going to Sweden.
And you're
I'm going to,
in
it's Swedish! Jag ska gå till Sverige.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, which has proudly been serving the families in New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals and is the exclusive sponsor of Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater in order to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a DVD copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.